do you think it annoys the woke that at the height of Doctor Who popularity, when it was the biggest thing on UK TV and broke into all the US audiences, it was effectively telling a straight heteronormative romance between the Doctor and Rose, a bloke and a chick. I mean, if you remember the scene on the beach with the kiss and everything, that broke the whole internet. It was the only news headline in the UK for ages, not lectures on pronouns. Is that something they can't get around? They can't change the fact that audiences just want what they've always wanted, a love story, some action and a fun adventure.
It completely pisses them off. Good. The woke have invaded, the activists and the woke have invaded all facets of our institutions here in our country. I'll speak for our country, including pop culture. And they had full control, and they're losing it, and they're losing their minds because, there's that mythical search for the modern audience. Turns out the modern audience is exactly the same as the past audience and the future audience. We like good stories. And yeah, that heteronormative story will probably be the most popular Doctor Who story ever. And yeah, and it's going to bother them. And you know why they'll never get it is that wasn't the only part of that story. We already had fully developed characters, and we cared about both of them separately. And the romance was just a part of it. Turned into a tragedy, by the way. And that's one of the better parts of Doctor Who is he can never form full relationships. And when he does, he always has to say goodbye or somebody dies. It's part of the drama. So yes, it's going to bother them that we don't care about their, they're pandering to a very small percentage, and it's actually a smaller percentage within the small percentage. And big shocker, nobody's watching because the modern audience is us.
Yeah, well, geeks and nerds, they still want a good romance too. They want to know it's all going to end in a happily ever after.
Yeah.
The films that end on a kiss, even the action films typically end on a kiss. Why? Because we're human beings and we like it. It's just how we're made. We can't help it. But we touched on Tom Cruise. He's becoming basically the only person upholding the genre of action films for us lately. But there is one film that bucked the trend over the last few years. One film that got men excited about being masculine and had girls shouting, heck yeah, at the action sequences. And one film that did not pander to woke or bog itself down with the message. And it was even a sequel, which is usually dangerous territory. That film is Top Gun Maverick. Is this film proof that audiences, they still want all those same things from the 70s and 80s and 90s? I mean, I've watched young people, the TikTok generation, they review the film and they love it. They can't help it. There's something about it, about boys being boys and great fight scenes that people just want to see.
Absolutely. And it sold because it was what it was. It was male energy. It was masculinity. It was a sequel to a 36-year-old movie that at the time I'm like, hey, the trailer looks good, but maybe I'll go see it. And it took off, and it had crazy legs, and it still made more money than Barbie. And this was during quote unquote the Koof era. And absolutely we didn't even know like the nationality of the bad guy. We assumed it was Russians, right? But we don't know. They never really told us. It was a good adventure story. This is what people want. And will Hollywood learn the lessons from that? That's the question. I don't really think so. Not until they completely go broke.